Hey, I just want to say really quick before we get into the video, I'm going to talk about the fellow a little bit, but I'm really talking about some broader things in the coffee community, which I think are really neat. But I do have to disclose, fellow did send this to me just to make some content, try out, test, give feedback, whatnot, needing to make a review, and I will cover it, and I do speak very positively about it, but for a lot of reasons that you'll see soon. So enjoy. Let me know what you think. And if you have questions on this machine, I'm also here. Find me on Instagram as well. I'll see you soon. Hey, Michael here. I talked about this over on Instagram, about how when you get into video games, you just feel like you're not doing that great. You see other people who have hundreds or thousands of hours playing at a skill level a lot higher than you. It's really hard to feel like you can keep up or that you can even be good. You feel tempted to go online and just start looking at strategy guides and spend more time learning about the game and what to do and what not to do than just going and playing. I feel like that with coffee, where there is so much information coming out so frequently that I doubt if the pour-over recipe that I'm using now is good enough. Am I using the right flow rate? Have I measured the bypass? Is the dripper I'm using compatible with the flow rate or grind distribution or agitation of the recipe? Is my water correct? Does it match the coffee that I'm making? Does all of it even matter? And in the end, ultimately, is this actually a good cup of coffee? Maybe it isn't, because someone said you need a higher uniformity grind distribution for this amazing geisha, or you need low agitation for this other coffee, or this dripper only works with high agitation coffees, or bypass is better and not better at certain times. And I'm a little overwhelmed. The coffee tastes good, but I have a lot of doubt now. And there's nothing wrong with trying to master and spend hundreds of hours or 10 years figuring out the ins and outs of a V60. For most people, they don't have that time. And your coffee's probably gonna go stale by then. You only have one small bag. And if it's a really good coffee, it's only about, 150 grams. So that really makes it hard to get over this doubt and just enjoy the coffee, because that's what I want. And that's what I would want my friend to have, is to just enjoy the coffee that they bought. If I say, hey, there's this amazing roaster or this producer, and you gotta try this, super limited, I'll give you a sample. I really hope that they can enjoy it. But they're probably paralyzed on if they have the right dripper or tools to even brew the coffee the way that it should be. I think that's a problem that needs to get addressed. And it's kind of happening. We have the fellow Aiden. It's a batch brewer / automatic pour-over machine. It can pretty much programmatically brew a cup of coffee for you pretty easily. You can control the pulses of the water over the brew bed. You can control how much water actually comes out. So it's a little different than your typical batch brewer like OXO or Mocha Master or any other normal coffee maker, which uses the whole tank of water. It controls pretty much everything that you'd want to control to make your cup of coffee. So if you're getting into it, you can use it like a normal machine where you fill the water tank up to the level you want, you press instant brew on the front, and you press go. You also put coffee in the top and then press go. But in the end, you do get a really good pot of coffee. Stays pretty hot, pretty long. Enough for most people. This doesn't have a heater, but that's not typical on SCA certified machines. For what this is, it's a sign of things changing in coffee, which I think are really good. So I know you've seen this around. There's a lot of other videos out there and people talking about this machine, giving it a good review technically and everything else. Yes, it's mostly plastic. This is metal. The handle is okay. It does feel a little cheap here. You are getting a lot of plastic in this machine, but for the most part, it works really well, and I've really enjoyed it. What really excites me about this machine is the way that you can build out your pour-over recipes. But there's something else that the fellow Aiden does, which is really cool, and it's more of a sign of change in this homebrewing community that I think is really good. The Aiden allows you to save, program, create pour-over recipes. and share them. For those who subscribe to Fellow Drops, a coffee subscription where you can buy a coffee, whatever they have every week, and they'll send it to you. You don't have to buy it every week, but they pick out some really good coffees. You get to try it at home and just know that it's going to be a good bag of coffee. What's really cool about that is that they also make and curate a special recipe for each Fellow Drops each week, delivered to your Aiden. This is something that I've seen, I think with the Samantha or the older Hario V60 pour-over machine, which their intent was to have roasters distribute the Samantha or whatever to their wholesale accounts, and then when they roast the coffee, they can make a recipe on that, send it to all their other wholesale accounts, and know that like they're gonna be able to repeat the pour-over recipe, repeat the coffee making process so perfectly, so the product is going to be consistent for all their customers. This is something really cool with the Aiden, is that Fellow gives you recipes, and here, so if you go to guided brew, down here, and you can see that there is now a Fellow Drops menu, and it has a running list of coffees that they've released over the past few weeks. That's really cool. You get to try the coffee and brew it in a way that kind of gets over all these doubts of, is this going to be the best cup of coffee or not? I know for me, I can just do it myself. I can find another recipe that works great. I can just make it on my own pour-over setup. For a lot of people, this gets over this high barrier of entry to enjoying specialty coffee, especially nice bags of coffee. 8 ounces of coffee that you only have a few tries to get right before you can really enjoy it. Who's dialed in, a Gesha espresso, only 80 grams, and just like went for it. I don't think everyone should experience that. Maybe they should once, but I would love to have people not experience the fear or doubt or exhilaration of dialing in and hitting a god shot on your first try of a nice coffee. This is probably the same feeling that the 3D printing or drone community is feeling with, higher automated machines and technologies that are coming out. Yes, on 3D printers, you don't have to build and calibrate every single little thing and really learn how to do it to get a good print, to where building and maintaining your 3D printer is really the hobby rather than making things. But with new printers coming out, new technologies, that's all done. People are really enjoying just printing and making and modeling things and enjoying that process. There's nothing wrong with doing that and appreciating all the work that went into that in the beginning. Same with drones. There's so many more automated drones out there. It's so easy to just get in the air and fly versus the people who had to just fly quadcopters, build it out and hone their skills in hundreds of trees. I think this may stir up similar feelings in the coffee community. Yes, I've spent hundreds of thousands of hours perfecting my V60 pour-over recipe, and no one should enjoy a cup of coffee as well as I have because they have not gone through the same thing myself. I think all that knowledge and information is great, and I appreciate it. I appreciate all the people who have worked hard to get our understanding of pour-over to where it is now. But that shouldn't stop people from just jumping ahead and getting to enjoying the coffee. The Aiden allows you to do that. And I think it's gonna be great to see new makers, new tools out there that allow us to get to enjoying the coffee sooner and quicker. And maybe, yes, someone can say they've had a god shot on a new automated espresso machine or had the best pour over their life from an Aiden or similar. And we shouldn't put them down because they just jumped ahead and pressed a button. You can't really enjoy that. Oh, that wasn't really a god shot because you didn't spend hundreds of hours dialing in and seasoning your gear and grinder and measuring TDS and all this. How do you know? I think this is a good sign. It's a good sign of change, and it opens up a new avenue of enjoying coffee. This is what's really cool, is now I don't have to worry about trying to make sure someone has the right recipe. I can give it to them. And then I can jump across continents and borders and say, hey, I have this amazing coffee, you have that too, let's enjoy it together. And we can both make it on a machine like this or similar. That would be amazing. And just talk about the coffee itself and sit together, enjoy the work that went into that bean. I appreciate a lot of the work that went into this machine and the people who got it here. But now I think it's time to really enjoy the work that's going into the coffee itself. There's always going to be a place for people who have a want to master a dripper or a tool, or to really know how to intuitively make a cup of coffee, and that's amazing. But tools like the Aiden, and I hope more, are just a sign of things to come. I'm really excited for that. Because someone like me, who has a family, who has a job, who has a lot of other stuff to do, I really want to just enjoy the coffee. So this is the fellow Aiden. It's a pour-over machine, but I think it's a sign of something coming. It's new. It's really exciting to see hints of this change happening in the industry. I really hope we see more tools like this at home for consumers. If you think of any other things that can be automated or that would really help you get to that really perfect coffee, let me know. I'm just here to share my thoughts on coffee making and the gear I'm using, which I think is really neat. So thanks for listening. See you again. Cheers.